People say, should John Kelly make a difference, or should people, you get to the collaborationist question, to what extent should we collaborate with him? Then you wake up every morning and you find out it's him. It's not the people around him. This is Donald Trump unfiltered. And to keep fighting Confederate monument battles when you got tax reform, infrastructure, health care, and a lot of foreign policy things just seems unhinged to me.
Now we have speculation about how long various stars of the administration stay. We just had Governor Engler talk about Gary Cohn. Kramer here has said at this desk, Gary has to stay. How much is riding on his continued tenure in the White House, Walter?
Well, as I said, I don't think it's about, Gary Cohn or whether or not Jared and Ivanka can put out statements quietly saying they disagreed or whatever. It's about the guy who's in the Oval Office, and he doesn't seem to be tethered by his advisors. I mean, if he were coming out with a very coherent tax reform plan this week, or doing an infrastructure plan like he was supposed to be doing, that's what that press conference was supposed to be about, then you'd say, well, it's really important that we figure out the infrastructure of this country or stuff. Now, we're in uncharted territories. This is gone beyond being just weird. This is where a guy is not even tethered to reading his own health care bill, knowing what's in his own infrastructure program, or knowing how to work with Mitch McConnell and others in the Senate, Democratic and Republican, that a normal president would be doing. And instead, he's getting up and deciding to fight the heroism of Confederates.
But that said, Walter, we've been discussing how the policy forum hadn't really achieved that much anyway. Lots of Republican members of Congress haven't explicitly criticized the president, and so far no members of the administration has resigned. So in a week's time, when focus comes back onto other issues, whether it's geopolitical or domestic, could we all think that this was actually a storm in a teacup?
I hope so, but every week we've said in a week's time, when we quit focusing on whatever he had tweeted about this week and other things, this will just be looked at as a little bit of a tempest. The bigger issue here is that the conservative movement in America and the Republican Party in America, ever since the days of Reagan and even before, have had an umbrella big tent in which big business is at the table and very influential, corporate America, but also social conservatives and people of different stripes. That coalition is being broken apart. He doesn't really have any members of that coalition anymore. He's getting down to Steve Bannon and David Duke as his last two coalition members.
But that's not true, Walter. I mean, there's work being done at the Treasury and in Gary Cohn's team and people like Reed Cordish's team that are working actively with the CEOs, whether they're on the councils or not. And they're working on apprenticeship programs and infrastructure programs, and they're still having this outreach. And without the councils coming and doing this walk up to the White House, I'm just not sure how much of that changes. And I'm not sure how much the market is thinking anything changes as well as far as the legislative agenda.
No, and you're right. I should have said at the beginning something I said 3 or 4 months ago when these councils were formed. I've been on these councils. These councils are window dressing. So the issue here is not whether or not you had the council, but whether or not you're just really stiffing it to the CEOs who were trying to work with you, including after they've decided to disband and after they've been asked to put in it that it was done mutually, to put out a tweet that's basically, I'll just say it's untrue. I won't go further than that. That says, where the president says he decided to disband them. I don't know why he keeps sticking a thumb in the eye of people he needs. Now, you're right. There's work being done on tax reform. And, Reed Cordish, I'm sure, is good, and so is Mnuchin, and so is Gary Cohn. But we haven't seen a concerted presidential effort to say, here's what I believe on border adjustment tax, here's what I believe on tax reform, and let me start getting this through. So it's fine that people are working pretty well under him. It's not fine that he hasn't gotten his agenda and started to sell it. Where is this big agenda we need?
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.